Well, detectives
isn't just slipping. It's finished. Completely done. The feds have finally dropped the full report, and the details are so wild they almost don't feel real. Now the world can see just how far Wendy and her husband allegedly went in their scam, and trust me, the depth of it is jaw-dropping. Wendy isn't just in trouble. She's staring down a long, brutal legal war that could drag on for years. And honestly, she did this to herself. This is exactly why sometimes silence is safer, because the minute Wendy marched over to Bravo, crying that she was being targeted as an innocent black woman, she opened a door she could never close again. That move didn't just backfire, it blew up her entire career.
It's an unfortunate situation, and right now I can't say too much, but I will say when the time is right, I will share my story with everyone. And for now, they're just allegations, so we will continue to push forward. Okay.
According to the feds, they're not just confident, they're absolutely certain they've got Wendy locked in. They're calling it a foolproof case, airtight from every angle, with zero room for her to wiggle out. And if there's one thing everyone knows, it's that insurance companies don't play. They will drag you through fire, water, and the pits of hell just to prove you tried to scam them. But here's where it gets even messier. Things have gotten so intense that Wendy is now scrambling to distance herself from her own husband. She's begging the court to separate their cases, insisting that being tied to him is only making her situation look worse. The desperation is showing, and everyone can see it.
This season, well, the Wendy stuff happened after they were filming, but I'm just like, yeah, I've got questions. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
what's your biggest question for the Wendy situation?
Well, I first would want to hear what she has to say, and then I'll have my follow-up questions. Because and it's, you know what's crazy is that, like, nothing even personal towards Wendy. This would be like towards anyone.
The whole disaster traces back to April of last year, the moment Wendy and her husband stepped off their sunny Jamaica vacation and straight into a storm they created themselves. Barely unpacked, they dialed the cops in a panic, claiming their home had been torn apart by burglars. According to them, thieves supposedly made off with luxury designer bags and high-end jewelry worth a staggering $450,000. That's the number they reported to not one, but two different insurance companies. But the minute the word burglary left their mouths, detectives got suspicious. They dove into every scrap of evidence they could get their hands on because, let's be real, the neighborhood where Wendy and Eddie Wu live isn't exactly the kind of place where criminals break in and ransack homes. It's quiet, upscale, low crime, the kind of area where a story like theirs immediately raises eyebrows.
Forgot that in April, your home was broken into or something? Was this during filming that this happened?
I think it was right before.
Okay.
Like, literally before camera went up. It happened because my family was away on spring break. It was our spring break trip with the kiddos. And I was just so heartbroken. Like, I think a few of my first initial scenes, I'm just a little bit uneasy because we had just been violated, so to speak. It was the worst thing. It's so unexpected, especially since from my vantage point and from the investigators' vantage point, it was targeted, you know?
Really?
Yeah, because I've lived in this neighborhood for, a long time, but since the neighborhood has been in inception for over 20 years, there has been no burglary.
Yeah.
Like nothing.
But the deeper the cops dug, the more the entire story started falling apart piece by piece. The so-called ransacked home didn't look like a crime scene at all. In fact, only one room, the bedroom, looked disturbed, and even that looked suspiciously staged. The rest of the house? Spotless, untouched. Not a pillow out of place. Then came the real giveaway. The window Wendy and Eddie claimed the burglars escaped through didn't show a single sign of forced entry. No scratches, no broken locks, nothing. Even the toilet they said the thieves stepped on to climb out was perfectly clean, not a single shoe print, not even a smudge. It was like the burglars floated out of the house like ghosts. And it gets worse. The couple had a full security system, cameras, motion detectors, everything activated before they even left for Jamaica. But during the entire vacation, not one motion alert inside the house. No figures, no shadows, no movement. The only activity caught on camera were the routine package deliveries outside, all monitored remotely. Other than that, total silence. Does that sound like a home invasion? The cops didn't buy it for a second. The whole thing looked staged, like a DIY heist gone wrong. Then investigators uncovered something even messier. Some of the stolen designer items Wendy and her husband claimed in their insurance reports had been returned to stores years earlier. We're talking as far back as 2018 items they purchased, refunded, and then later tried to claim as stolen. Wendy might be book smart, but street smart? Absolutely not, because if she thought nobody would check those records, she wasn't thinking at all.
She just messaged me a couple days ago. You know, she's one of the the only ones who is like, you know, I'm so proud. You know, what she said was, God has you covered, right? So I need a second. Because
I get it.
I opened my phone. I had no idea it was even going on. And I'm like, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm very, very shocked because I felt Miss 4 Degrees had it together. Okay? I thought she had it together. I mean, isn't Eddie an attorney? For heaven's sakes, like what the fuck? Excuse my language, can I not?
And then came the moment that made investigators raise both eyebrows. A photo surfaced of Wendy on the red carpet, proudly flashing the exact same ring she had claimed was stolen. Not a similar one, the same one. At that point, the cops couldn't publicly reveal everything since they were still building their case, but they did drop one bombshell. They had already found at least 15 of the supposedly stolen items inside Wendy and Eddie's home. 15. With all this evidence piled up, the police moved in. Wendy was officially charged with a mountain of fraud, 7 felony counts of insurance fraud, and 8 counts of conspiracy to commit insurance fraud. And her husband, Eddie? He got hit with nearly identical charges. It was a full-blown legal takedown. Now, when it comes to the housewives of Bravo, every year somebody ends up with their hand in the cookie jar. But, girl, nobody, and I mean nobody, expected the 2025 scandal spotlight to fall on Wendy. Not with all her degrees, the way she presents herself, the academic aura, the I'm above this energy she gives off. This twist shocked the entire fan base. So, when the mugshots of Wendy and Eddie dropped online, social media exploded. People were gagging, refreshing timelines, hunting for more tea. And because Wendy is Wendy, someone who always has a comment, a clapback, or a storyline ready, she didn't stay quiet. Not for a second. She immediately blasted the charges as false, calling the arrest illegal and claiming the case was built on defective charges. Then, at BravoCon, she doubled down again. Even though she claimed she couldn't talk about the details for legal reasons, she dramatically teased that she looks forward to telling her story. And trust me, everyone is waiting to hear what that story sounds like.
You know, it's an unfortunate situation, and right now I can't say too much, but I will say when the time is right, I will share my story with everyone. And for now, they're just allegations, so we will continue to push forward. Okay. I know that's right.
The way Wendy told it, she made it sound like the police were out hunting down an innocent black woman and her family for no reason, painting herself as the target of yet another unfair attack. But the cops? They weren't buying any of that. They weren't here for the victim narrative, and they definitely weren't going to let Wendy twist the storyline. And if you thought the information already out there was wild, you're not even ready for what they just released. Investigators didn't just skim through her life, they deep dived into it. They seized everything, her emails, her bank statements, even her Instagram accounts. And that's when things got spicy. Turns out, Wendy had a third Gmail account, one with neither her name nor Eddie's attached. Cops gained access to it through a warrant served directly to Google, and whatever they found in there only made their case stronger. But the investigation didn't stop with Gmail. Luxury brands like Van Cleef, Louis Vuitton, Saks, and Ascot Diamonds were contacted to track down the high-end items Wendy and Eddie claimed were stolen. And then came the bombshell. The couple had allegedly used over 40 different credit cards under fake names like Pam Oliver and Eddie Hennessy, all to hide their true identities. That's not a slip-up, that's a whole operation. Their bank records also revealed a pattern of extreme, excessive spending, which investigators say lines up perfectly with the motive they're building against the couple. Now, of course, everyone is innocent until proven guilty, but let's be real. Wendy seems ready to pull a full Jen Shah deny until the very last breath. But here's the question everyone's asking. If this was just a misunderstanding, if everything was illegal and defective the way Wendy claims, why are she and her husband suddenly begging the court for separate trials? Something about that doesn't scream innocent. It screams panic.
I said she's going to have her husband take the fall, and everybody was like, she should take the fall because he's the attorney, blah, 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 blah. I told him, I said, I understand what y'all saying, but he's the one that made the phone calls. He's the one that sent the email. They got a stronger case against her husband. More than likely, he's going to take the fall. Like, you know what I'm saying? They got small kids. One of them needs to be out of jail for their children. You know what I'm saying? And I just had a feeling and whatnot. And look, lo and behold, she is separating her trial from him, even though they both are being charged with the same, like, mostly the same.
Separating their cases is, technically, a smart move. It lets Wendy and Eddie craft two completely different defense strategies, each tailored to whatever story they're trying to sell. And on top of that, it gives them a fighting chance to avoid both landing in prison at the same time, because at the end of the day, they do have kids, a home, and a family image they're desperately trying to protect. But let's be honest, things are not looking good for the Ooh household right now, and social media, whew. The internet is dragging them without mercy. People are calling out the hypocrisy left and right. So you're telling me Wendy clowned Giselle's house, mocked other women for not having designer bags, only to end up filing fake insurance claims for cash? Baby, she might just be the brokest one on the cast. Another person said, I can't believe this Wendy and Eddie Ooh mess. Facing felonies just to create the illusion of a lifestyle? They didn't even need to do this. And honestly, that's the most devastating part. This scandal hits harder because Wendy spent years putting herself on the highest pedestal, the educated one, the classy one, the one above everyone else. When you build your brand on perfection, one crack becomes a whole collapse. But now I want to hear from you. What do you think about this entire situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I'll see you in the next video.